I literally picked out my engagement ring yesterday. Will I even get to wear it?
This will affect you if you are in a queer relationship.
How does it feel to have voted for your own demise like an absolute fucking moron?
Today is a day that ends in Y, so woke people on the internet are panicking for no reason. Up first, like I mentioned, we've got to talk about a really disturbing trend going around on TikTok where people seem to be panicking, particularly people within the LGBT community, based on some news that is quite literally not real, didn't happen, and isn't a thing. Many people, and just viral video after viral video, seems very concerned and is spreading a claim that the Supreme Court has decided to rehear the case that declared gay marriage the law of the land nationwide, Obergefell v. Hodges. Video after video suggested that the Supreme Court is revisiting this and showed various gay and lesbian people in different sad situations with kind of sad music. Here's a compilation of TikToks. I'll have to replace the music for copyright, but sad pop songs were played over these videos in the background. So there's just one problem. This literally did not happen. The Supreme Court hasn't agreed to rehear Obergefell v. Hodges. Nothing of the sort has taken place. Now, what did happen that seems to be prompting a lot of this hysteria and confusion? Well, as The Hill reports, the Idaho House, so one part of the Idaho state legislature, has called on the Supreme Court to undo their same-sex marriage ruling. The Idaho House passed a Republican-backed resolution on Monday urging the Supreme Court to reconsider the legality of same-sex marriage. The Hill reports, all of Idaho's Democratic House members opposed the non-binding resolution, as did 15 Republicans. It passed 46 to 24. But did you notice the key word there? Non-binding. This is a resolution that has no binding impact, no legal authority. It's simply a statement of hope. Like, maybe we think they should do this. It has no legal or legislative impact whatsoever. It's not a case the Supreme Court could agree to hear challenging Obergefell. It's just a giant Republican virtue signal. And it hasn't even passed out of Idaho's full legislature yet, just one branch, just the House. It hasn't passed the Senate. But again, even if it does, it literally doesn't matter. I reached out to a couple legal experts I know well and asked them if this has any weight, and one of them just replied, 0 in all caps. Yet these major TikTok influencers have put these videos out to millions of people acting like gay marriage is about to go the way of the dodo bird. Here's one of those videos.
So that Idaho bill that everyone said would like not go anywhere and it was just a scare tactic trying to roll back LGBTQ marriages. It made it. I literally picked out my engagement ring yesterday. Will I even get to wear it? I'm so mad. I just want to marry my girlfriend. That's it. I just want to marry my girlfriend, wear my pretty ring.
There are so many problems with this, I hardly know where to begin. First, girl, I highly doubt you live in Idaho. Second, it didn't pass. It didn't even pass the full legislature. It just passed the House, not the Senate. And two, it's not really a bill. It's a non-binding resolution that has no impact, no legal authority, and changes absolutely nothing. Yet you're out here acting in front of millions of people online like your marriage is on the ropes and about to be taken away from you by the government. That's just not a thing. It's just not happening. Like, let's talk about the Supreme Court math here for a minute. So for context, guys, to agree to hear a case, you need 4 votes, and to make a majority decision, you need 5 votes of the 9-person Supreme Court. So for the Supreme Court to even agree to hear a challenge on gay marriage, you would need 4 people interested in doing so. Which, to be clear, again, these people are all acting like they've already agreed to hear it. that hasn't happened. But are there 4 votes to hear such a challenge, let alone 5 to overturn gay marriage nationwide? Let's do the math. There are 3 liberal justices on the Supreme Court, so we can just take them out of the equation. They're definitely going to support keeping gay marriage, so we're left with 6. One of those 6 is Chief Justice John Roberts, who's best described as an institutionalist. He doesn't like to rock the boat, he doesn't like to overturn long-standing precedent, and there's really no way he's going to want to overturn something that so many people rely on and that is established and settled law, like gay marriage. There's also Brett Kavanaugh, who, in their decision overturning Roe v. Wade, specifically wrote in his concurrence, "Please do not make any assumptions that this means we are going to overrule Obergefell v. Hodges or any other related cases." So I think it's fair to say that he's unlikely to support such a drastic overturning of precedent. That brings us down to just 4. So we already don't have enough to overturn gay marriage, by the way. But do we even have enough for the Supreme Court to rehear the case? Because you'd need all 4 to agree to do so. Well, one of those 4 is Justice Neil Gorsuch, who is much more libertarian leaning and actually authored a major opinion expanding gay rights. So can't say for sure, but I think it's unlikely he would want to hear a challenge to gay marriage. Amy Coney Barrett? Hard to say, really. I'd put her as kind of a question mark. And then with Justice Clarence Thomas and Justice Samuel Alito, I think it's pretty clear they both would vote to rehear a challenge to gay marriage. So you have 2 votes to potentially hear that case out of the 4 you would need to actually hear it and the 5 you would need to overturn it. So I'm very confident that gay marriage, in terms of the Supreme Court precedent, is safe. That could change if a justice or 2 retire while Trump is president and he's able to replace them with people who are more socially hardcore conservative. But until that happens, I think it's pretty safe. But the influencers who are spreading all this fear porn don't actually know how politics or our system of government works. So they're just seeing that some state lawmakers somewhere passed a resolution, so gay marriage must be doomed. Here's one of those videos that honestly cracked me up.
And here we are. We told you this was going to happen, and he hasn't even been sworn in yet, and we're already seeing this. We told you that it was only a matter of time before Republicans were so emboldened that they would try to go after Obergefell v. Hodges, and they are. Now, whether you're cis or trans, this will affect you if you're in a queer relationship. For example, my partner is female and I'm recognized as female, so our marriage wouldn't necessarily be recognized everywhere.
Who wants to tell this person that even if gay marriage was overturned, their marriage would still be allowed? That's all I'll say about that one. A lot of this panic also seems to rest on some pretty bizarre misconceptions about what Donald Trump's position is on gay marriage and what exactly would even happen if the Supreme Court somehow did overturn the case establishing gay marriage. Here's one video that's interesting, I guess.
Hey, gays for Trump. How does it feel to have voted for a man that is now supporting Republican legislation that's going to make its way all the way to the Supreme Court, that's going to overrule Obergefell v. Hodges, which gave you the right to marry? How does it feel to have voted for your own demise like an absolute fucking moron? See, if you voted for Trump, I already know you're uneducated. But if you're gay, trans, a minority, and you voted for Trump, you're not uneducated. You're stupid. You're an idiot. That's the equivalent of a chicken walking into a KFC factory and applying for a job.
So they always share these old clips of Trump where he talks about being anti-gay marriage, but those are old clips. The same way you can find clips of Joe Biden and Barack Obama saying the same thing, but they later changed their view to support gay marriage. Trump actually entered office in 2016 saying he was fine with gay marriage. And in 2019, he had this to say about Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a married gay Democrat.
We've got the town hall with Pete Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
There you go. This weekend. Just one thing on him, putting aside policy disagreements, don't you think it's just great to see the fact that you've got a guy there on the stage with his husband, and it's normal, it's not even seen as a big deal?
I think it's absolutely fine, I do.
But isn't it a sign of great progress in the country that's just...
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that's something that perhaps some people will have a problem with. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think it's good.
So I think it's very misleading the way they share these old clips devoid of context, the way they claim that Trump is anti-gay marriage, because guys, Trump did not support the Idaho legislation, and it's also just a resolution. It's not going to go all the way to Supreme Court because it's not an actual law. But this all also misses a pretty important point. What exactly would happen if, and again, I think this is extremely unlikely, but I could be wrong, if the Supreme Court did overturn Obergefell v. Hodges, the case that established gay marriage nationwide, what would happen next? Would gay marriage become illegal across the country? Would existing marriages be null and void? No. That's not what would happen. Why? Well, because when Biden was president, but also many Republicans joined with him and voted for this, they passed bipartisan legislation called the Respect for Marriage Act. This legislation ensures that in the pretty unlikely, I think, event that the Supreme Court did overturn gay marriage, people would still have access to gay marriage nationwide, because states would be required to respect any valid marriage license issued by a state where it was allowed, including their own state in the past. So if Obergefell was overturned, states like Idaho, for example, could choose to stop issuing new gay marriage licenses, but they'd be required to respect the ones they'd already given out, and anybody who lived in Idaho could go to another state that allows gay marriage, get married, and then come back to Idaho, and Idaho would have to respect their marriage. That's what that legislation did, and it would be very difficult to overturn that legislation, and again, Trump doesn't want to do that. He supports gay marriage. Plus, a lot of the Republicans and Democrats who passed it just a few years ago are still in Congress. Now, look, is potentially having to go out of state to get married if you're in one of a handful of red states that would probably ban it, is that ideal or great or what I support? No. Is it dystopian? Also no. And again, the whole situation is incredibly unlikely to begin with, but even the worst case scenario is not particularly bad. It's just honestly kind of disheartening to me to see how this fake panic and this misinformation spreads like wildfire on social media. And the same Democrats and liberals who lecture us about misinformation and fake news eat it up and share it and share it and share it without a hint of sensing their own irony or hypocrisy. It's really unfortunate because a lot of the people online reacting to this news seem genuinely emotionally distressed and upset about something that is not happening. And I think that that's a symptom of a much broader problem with our social media and political ecosystem that goes far beyond gay marriage. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I do always read the comments and I love hearing what you guys have to say. Plus, make sure you subscribe. This channel and the show is growing so fast like crazy, and it's just an honor to have you guys all signed up to tune in and hear me yap every day. Make sure you hit that like button as well.